Hi, I realized I forgot to introduce myself in the last video, or my first video. So yeah, my name is Kylie. I started this channel to kind of just talk about my interests, mainly right now, perfumes and fragrances. Yeah, and today I would be sampling the rest of the perfumes that I got, perfume samples that I got, um, namely from Oriza legrand. And I'm really excited about these scents because, first of all, the way they kind of like marketed or like described these perfumes as, I don't know, really transformative kind of experiences, and that was something that really drew me in. I'm also just like interested in kind of like that historical aspect of it, and I don't know, just like the idea of exploring through a church or a forest undergrowth is really cool for me. So yeah, let's just get into it. I got a couple samples, 4 of them to be exact. I wanted to order directly from the website, but shipping was kind of a lot, so because they're from France. So sadly I could not do that. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. The first scent that I have is Relique d'Amour, and it is the description for the website is like a poem. It is the abandoned chapel of the Cistercian abbey, cold stone walls covered in moss, the scent of waxen wood, of the tabernacle and ornate pews. Sorry, the text is like super small. The linseed oil of the unfinished painting, myrrh and frankincense still linger in the air when a peppery whiff catches you unawares. That of white lilies, still fresh and yet so spicy. The subtle scent of golden pollen mingles with that of solemn green leaves. A beam of light breaks through the stained glass windows, illuminating this olfactory tumult of feelings, shifting from humility to jubilation, a divine call. So yeah, freaking poem. I feel like I'm in like transported to like a medieval or like Renaissance cathedral or something, and I'm like in the middle of like a forest, the way that they're describing that. And the notes for this are pine, herbal notes, lily, incense, powdery notes, elemi, oak, myrrh, pepper, moss, woody notes, pepper, and musk. So kind of a green, woody, maybe spicy kind of sense. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay. Whoa. It immediately comes at me as like extremely green, kind of vegetable-y. It feels really realistic to me. Like I'm getting a lot of the greens and like the woody, kind of foresty kind of aspect of it. Yeah, it kind of feels like a sort of like salad almost, like. And the incense is, I can kind of sense that incense too. There's like a sort of sharpness about it. Okay, my iPad freaking dropped, which is so embarrassing for me. But yeah, as I was getting to like fix the camera and like kind of getting to smell this more, people have been saying it's kind of giving me them like a wet, mossy church or dungeon or something like that. Kind of mossy, and I'm like totally getting that sort of wet aspect for sure. yeah, I'm really digging this scent, and I feel like it's definitely something that I would wear as well, like the very green, woody kind of scent profile is something that I'm into. And I'm kind of into that like sort of gothic vibe that it has as well. I think it's definitely up my alley and my other interests. Yeah, definitely something that I would wear. And if you want like a ruins in the forest, overgrown with moss and leaves and vegetation, a slightly burnt aspect of like the wood and the incense, kind of a smoky like candle and like flowers. That's definitely what I'm getting from this scent, which I really like. So I would definitely wear this for sure. Okay, so for this next scent, which I am so super excited about, as I was mentioning before, this is kind of what introduced me to this brand, or like perfumery. It's called chypre mousse, and it's described as an undergrowth sort of scent. Let me read the like description from the website. The Dandy's perfume by Oriza and legrand. After the first rains of summer, the woods exude scents of peat, moss, and petrichor. The ideal time to stroll under the dripping canopy and enjoy much needed cool breeze after the scorching summer heat. Autumn has come, the time to meditate, to observe nature as it prepares for the coming of a swift winter and its first pores. Pores? The thickets and the glades wear their many-colored dress, their tender copper leaves smelling of soothing scents. Soon now, the mossy paths, precious jewels of the undergrowth, will welcome a layer of dead leaves burnished by the waning rays of the sun. Chypre mousse reminds us of nature's last colored garment before the first snowfalls of winter. The fragrance of damp forests by the glen, of golden barks and maroon leaves, of fresh tree moss and roasted chestnuts by the hearth. Chypre mousse, the centennial fragrance of Maison Oriza et Legrand, launched in 1914 for all the dandies of the world. So, kind of like a end of summer transitioning into fall, winter, cooler, foresty kind of vibe. People have described it as like exploring a forest. The notes for this are fennel, mint, green notes, clary sage, oak moss, fern, clover, angelica, galbanum, violet leaf, mastic, or lentisque. For the base notes, we have oak moss, soil tincture, Boletus edulis, which is like a mushroom, chestnut, vetiver, pine tree needles, resins, labdanum, and leather. So a lot of green herbs, earth. I'm interested for that soil note as well, and the mushrooms. That's something that I've also like heard people talking about. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm so excited. Also, I'm gonna have to try to like, I don't know. Hopefully not spill this all over myself. Yeah. So. Okay. I'm a bit sad because I know that these perfumes are meant to be sprayed and not like drenched all over your finger. But you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. I feel like this is kind of like the perfect weather for, or not, the weather outside right now is like kind of really matching with the vibes of this. Like it's cloudy, but the birds are chirping, so I don't know, I feel like yeah. I'm definitely getting a lot of like the green and like herbaceous kind of notes here. On the finger that I like poured it all over, it's definitely coming a lot more cold and green and like sharp, kind of. Kind of like a, yeah, I'm definitely getting like the mint. Like this cool mint is really coming at me. There's also like some kind of, maybe it's from the mushroom kind of no. There's kind of like a citrusy kind of sour, like sour green, I think, which I think it might be from the vetiver. Yeah, what I'm smelling from my finger, I feel like I'm definitely getting that super green, very fresh, really cool, like you're walking through a forest and you're like under the shade, almost like cold, kind of, you know? On paper, it definitely leads a bit more woody and spicy. Slightly warmer than it is coming on my finger. On my finger, definitely, like I said before, the mint, and like it's coming off very cold, which I think is so interesting. Yeah, very fresh, very green, very clean as well. Spicy a bit, like freshly cut herbs and plants, like you're like cracking open a stem of a flower or something. Yeah, that's a really interesting scent. Really interesting, and I think all of these lean a bit more like unisex, so there's something that I'm interested in as well. Yeah, very contemplative. I feel like I'm like really thinking about but it's another like wet kind of scent, kind of like it reminds me of like a forest morning and the sun is barely peeking through like the leaves and everything is damp from dew, and yeah, wow, a very beautiful scent. I really like this one. Really nice. I really like this one. Okay, so for the next one, we have Rev Dozia. And this one is described as an orthodox incense, which, like, oh my gosh, what a description. I like kind of grew up Catholic, not like super religious, but I went to church regularly and, you know, did all those things. So I feel like that's a really like nostalgic sort of scent for me, like the incense and things like that. So really cool. Let's read the description. I'm really, whoever wrote these descriptions are like freaking like wordsmith or something. It's really cool. Which I think is kind of part of the experience for me as well. I appreciate like reading the story behind it, as well as like the notes, and like the bottles are so beautiful, and I really like, I think right now it's definitely like kind of my goal once I'm able to afford it, to get one of these perfumes, because I feel like it's just what a beautiful experience. And it's really exciting for me as someone who's kind of interested in like these kind of medieval, architectural, environmental kind of things, whether it be in like history or art and things like that. Anyways, the description of this is the roots of nation drawing its riches from the heart of forgotten history. Images of windswept moorland leading the ancient spirits into the mists and under the fading moonlight. Rêve d'Ossian, spellbinding like a dream, in which heroes and fairies of Celtic myths still dwell. Also, my French accent is so not good. I'm like trying to practice, but you know, I'm American. The woody notes of pine, frankincense, and sandalwood accentuate the mystery of the forest. The forest will. Balsams and leathers warm the spirit, spellbinding and enveloping, associating the darkest and noblest raw materials on earth. Wow. Okay, so this one, the notes of this are incense, pine tree, aldehydes, elemi, benzoin, cinnamon, opoponax, tonka bean, guaiac wood, labdanum, amber, sandalwood, musk, and leather. So the accords as described in Fragrantica are amber, balsamic, woody, warm, spicy, aromatic, smoky, conifer. So woody, ambery, musky, incense, which is wow. Okay, so let's try this one. And hopefully not getting it all over my fingers again. Well, this time I got it all over my hand, so that's great. Whoa. Wow. That one is very, very strong, I would say, compared to the first two. Immediately getting that balsamic, like, sharp. That's nice. That amber incense is like really coming at you. Wow. It's definitely giving me like gothic vibes for sure. I'm entering a church, like in the middle of like a ceremony or something. Like the candles are burning and there's incense and it's dark and a bit gloomy, and yeah, like I'm entering a ritual. I really, really, really like this one a lot, and I didn't really expect to like this one. I kind of get the hint of the cinnamon as well. It feels ancient and but not necessarily old. Kind of reminds me of like a fossil or something. Like an ambery fossil of like an insect. And smoky. And yeah, I'm really getting that transformative kind of environmental sort of experience from these scents, and I really did not expect to like this one so as much as I did, as I do. That incense, like, this is a really, really beautiful scent, and I like a warmness that I'm maybe guessing is from the tonka bean. That is really, 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 really beautiful. I'm really into this one a lot. Wow. Yeah. Spellbinding like a dream in which heroes and fairies of Celtic myths still dwell. Like, for sure. Absolutely. Like, I totally get that. Like, someone is like telling you a story in this like dark like library or something that's like connected to the church, or like, you know, and candles are burning and oh my gosh. I love this is really good, and I think it's like perfectly described as well. Just wow. Dark and precious essences, wooden notes filled with the mystery of the forest, with fairies and pixies. A note from the brand. Oriental woody fragrance for men and women. Yeah. Like, if you want to wear this and you want to like give off like, I don't know, like a traveling knight or something that's like working for the church, which I mean that's kind of how it goes, and you're like stopping for respite in like a church or something deep within the woods, and it's just this opening, it's mysterious, and this is kind of how I imagine like if you are like playing like a Dark Souls or like Elden Ring, a Dark Souls game or Elden Ring or like anything like that. I think this is like definitely that kind of vibe for sure. Okay. Wow. I love. That's so cool. Really, really well. Okay, and for this last one, and I'm so sad that my journey is reaching a close for today, but the last scent that I have is Oyet Louis the 15th. And this one is described as a let me read the description on the website. So, with its paradoxes, at once powdery and peppery, silky and sparkly, carnation both comforts and provokes the senses. Reminiscent of bygone days, the scent of powder evanesces and gives way to the spiciness of its clove-like notes. A tribute to Louis XV, the beloved King of France, who saw the birth of Oriza in 1720 and of whom he was the most illustrious client, white carnation is adorned with mandarin, iris, and blonde woods, barely concealing the violence of pepper, clove, and pink pepper, as heady in its application as a poison. White carnation as a symbol of faithful passion lurking in the shadows of the monarchy, peppered with the gunpowder smell of the French Revolution. Pink carnation, bitter like Virgin Mary's tears, growing on Jesus' footsteps as he walked to his doom, burdened with a cross. A flower of symbols, full with olfactory contrast, worn by Louis XV and the Muscadins. Carnation here appears more beautiful and surprising than ever. Wow. Yeah, I think of all the descriptions, I think this one was the one that really drew me in, and not because of I think mostly because of that line about Mary's tears, burdened with the cross. Like, okay, not to get all religious or whatever, but wow, like, wow. I just really appreciate the descriptions. They're just so good. I need like a book for like all of these. Okay, so this one is a bit more feminine leading, apparently. And the notes for this are a lot of florals. So pink pepper, mandarin orange, white carnation, carnation cloves, iris, rose, white orchid. The base notes are powdery notes, white honey, white musk, rice, and woody notes. So I think an interesting kind of array of notes that we have here. I'm kind of expecting a spicy floral kind of thing. I'm interested to see how that rice note comes out in this, as well as the honey. Floral, warm, spicy, powdery. Okay, let's give this a go. Also, I realize that there's a lot of background noise, I think. And when my window's open, so we're just getting everything. Alright. I'm gonna try to not spill this all over my hand. I got it on the paper. I really gotta find a better way to like do these things because it's a mess, and I feel like it's just making my mess. My fingers just, ugh. Hmm. It's like a soft. I feel like I'm definitely getting that like the powdery aspect of it, and there's like a spiciness to it that I'm guessing is going to be the clove, and the floral is definitely coming through as well for me. I'm not really familiar with like carnation scents, but I think maybe that floral that I'm getting is from that. And there's like a subtle rose that I'm getting as well. And yeah, I'm definitely getting the citrusy kind of vibe from the mandarin orange. My fingers just smell crazy right now. Definitely musky as well. Musky, floral, spicy. A soft, powdery, kind of soapy vibe I'm getting. There's also a slight burning kind of aspect I'm getting, maybe from the cloves or the pepper or the woody nuts as well. I think maybe I'm a little bit not as interested in like floral type of perfumes, but it's a really nice scent as well. I would say it's like definitely a lot more interesting than like a lot of florals that I'm used to, and like I said, there's like a sharpness to it that I appreciate. I think the mix with the pepper and the woody notes and the cloves kind of gives me like an essential oil kind of vibe. But the floral notes keep it kind of, and the powdery notes keep it like soft. I think compared to the other scents that I have, this is definitely something that I could see like. Now I'm getting a bit more of the cloves as well, and the powdery. Maybe like a vintage shop owner, like a 6-year-old lady who wears like a lot of jewelry. Like you're walking into like an antique store. I think this is also a very beautiful scent as well. Maybe not something that I would gravitate towards personally, but I could see how a lot of people could like this. I do really like this as well. Something that's more getting more familiar with and trying to like kind of decipher what I'm smelling. I think it's definitely a more like conventional kind of smell. And something that I think people would gravitate towards in general. I think because it's like a sort of sweeter floral scent. These all, I would say, really have that kind of vintage, antique quality about them that I really, really like. And I think it is still like, even if it feels a bit more conventional, I think is something that feels unique and interesting. And I mean, I'm still smelling it. I'm still like really into what's going on here. Yeah, I really like that. Again, not maybe something that I would wear, but on an everyday basis. But I'm also getting that kind of religious, Catholic, Orthodox vibe from it as well. They're not any necessarily incensey notes going on here. But it does kind of evoke Mary to me in this sort of soft sadness. And there's like that like smoky feeling going on. My thoughts are like really spread out, so I'm just kind of describing what I'm getting as I'm getting them. There's a warmness to it as well. Now I can't stop thinking about Mary. Yeah, kind of like a hug from an enveloping hug from a mother who had all these like florally spicy scents. I really appreciate this scent. I think it's definitely more on the softer and like floral side. I wouldn't say it's necessarily photorealistic forest compared to the other ones. It's definitely more like a daytime walking through a church kind of vibe. There's kind of a bittersweet feeling that I get from it as well. Like maybe you're holding a bouquet of flowers and as some sort of offering maybe. Yeah, but I like this scent a lot actually. Started off kind of like whatever, but I think I just had to warm myself up to it and just, you know, yeah, I'm into it. Okay, I think for my overall thoughts on this perfumery brand, I really like it. I think the sort of branding and like messaging that they have behind this and the description and the packaging and what they're trying to evoke here is super interesting to me, super up my alley and of what I like. And I do want to try out more of these scents if I'm able to. I got this off Lucky Scent and they only had like a couple of scents that I could test out. But yeah, I mean, if I ever get the chance to, then I would definitely be interested in trying out more. I think the ones that really stood out to me today, now that these have dried down and I'm able to like smell them more, I think the ones that I really liked and I feel like I could see myself wearing on an everyday basis or maybe getting a full size are probably Rêve d'Ocean and Relique d'Amour, which is really surprising to me. I really do like chypre mousse, but I think it's like almost too green for me in a way that's, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I really do like the scent and like what it evokes and the environment that it creates. But I think it's so green leaning for me that there's, okay, as I was saying, I don't necessarily feel like grounded by this scent, even though there's like soil And now I'm like, as I'm smelling this more, I'm definitely getting that mushroom, which is so interesting. It's a really interesting and evocative scent, and I would definitely recommend anybody to like test it out if they're able to. But I think maybe it wouldn't be something that I would necessarily buy a full bottle of, I guess. Yeah, I definitely have to like test it out on my skin, I think, which I will do in time, and maybe I'll express my thoughts about those. But it's very green and very light, I would say. And I think I do like more light scents, but I think this is a bit too airy for me in that way. In a way where I kind of want to find some sort of stability in it, I guess. Not saying that this isn't, but it's like a salad and not, I don't know. Maybe I'm like looking for something a bit more woody. Yeah, so Relique d'Amour and Rev Dozian. Okay, as I'm like, I think I'm really leaning into Relique d'Amour a lot. I don't know. This one's really nice. And as for Oyette, Louis, I don't forget how to say 15 in French. It's nice. And I could see myself wearing this as well. But maybe it's not something that I would also get a full size of. I think the ones I would consider getting a full size are Relique d'Amour and Rev Dozian. And those happen to be a bit more churchy and incensey, which is something that I've been looking for as well. And I think I really, really accurately evoke those, that kind of setting. So yeah, definitely looking forward and gonna like scope out some more of this brand, and I'm like really happy with, I really like them all. Like these are all like 10 out of 10s for me. They just evoke different experiences and really bring you to like a whole nother world for sure. Yeah, I really enjoyed testing these out, and yeah, super cool. I enjoyed. Very nice. Okay, so I was just editing this video, but I also tested these on my skin, so that's why all my sleeves are down. I also labeled them just to let you know, let myself know which one is which. So I tested Relique d'Amour, I think. Relique d'Amour on this wrist. And I really, really, I think this is such a beautiful scent on my skin. Hold on, let me pull up the notes again. It opened up extremely green, extremely foresty, like herbal a bit. But then as it was drying down, I was really getting the lily and incense, woody, smoky kind of scent that was really coming out on my skin, which I absolutely love, absolutely love. It's musky and smoky and soft at the same time. Like it's very powdery as well. Just absolutely beautiful, and I think I am definitely interested in buying like a full size for this one. Just it's kind of has like, it reminds me a bit of like jasmine almost, but it's not. I think it's the lily, but I think mixing those two factors together, something that is smoky and aged and intense with the lily is such a cool dichotomy, I think, but also goes really well because I think they both have like that religious sort of aspect to them, and I think that contrast does pair really nicely. Just wonderful. And then on this wrist, I tested chypre mousse. Kind of just dabbed it on. This one was a spray, so I was able to spray that on, and I had to dab everything else. And I think for this one, it comes out very, a little bit floral, mushroomy. Woody, I think. Which is funny, when I was like testing it on paper, it was very green, but on my skin has kind of a somehow light and also dense. It might be from the soil or the mushroom and the resin. I think also very beautiful. It has kind of a soft, powdery kind of feel to it, and not exactly as realistically cool green. I think it's definitely leaning into like the mushroom kind of thick kind of scent. Yeah, really nice, and I would say definitely a good, it's just a nice smell, but not something that I would wear personally. And on this one I tested Rev Dozyan, and this one is really pulling, the cinnamon is really coming out, and kind of has like a baked kind of feel to it. Like it might be the incense and the wood notes, sandalwood and guaiac wood. Very cinnamon, very resiny, very, very, very churchy for sure. Yeah, I'd say it definitely feels like you're entering a church with incense and candles, and they're like, you know, they have that, I forget what it's called, but it has the smoke of the incense, and they're like waving that around. I would say that one is a very, very realistic depiction of, you know, going to mass or going to some kind of like ritualistic setting. I would not say like an everyday scent, but I think something that I would be really interested in seeing and smelling throughout the day. I think it's just like a really cool experience. It's like, it's just experiencing and kind of like having those feelings and being in that moment, or like envisioning this setting that you're in. Yeah, really nice. Really nice and evocative and intense. Yeah, and then for this one I tested Oyet Louis 15, and this one is very floral. I think on my skin it definitely pulls more of that citrusy aspect. I think when I first tested it on, it was coming up very like the cloves, soapy kind of scent. But on the dry down feels very florally, and a bit woody. I could definitely see myself wearing this one as well. I'm not sure what kind of occasion it would be, but it feels really elegant and soft, floral. It feels like royalty, I think, which is kind of in the name, which is really cool. Yeah, it feels like a quiet kind of powerful, regal kind of sense. A bit princessy in a way. Like you're in a long flowing dress, in the courtroom, not the courtroom, but the court of the castle and things like that. Yeah, I think it's a very sophisticated kind of scent. One for very elegant kind of vibe, for sure. For my final thoughts on this, and I realize that this is a kind of super long video. I think this is such a beautiful and unique perfumery. I've never really smelled anything like it before, and I mean, I would say that my range is not super wide. I'm still really new to this, but I feel like my expectations and my standards have been very raised by this brand, and I am really interested in like exploring more of this and just trying new scents as well. I think they really nailed this historical, ancient, elegant, evocative sort of collection of scents from what I've smelled today. And yeah, I think it's just a super cool brand, and I think for anybody who wants to have really unique and, I don't know, kind of historical and like kind of like you're being in a time machine and you're getting to like explore different eras. I think that's definitely kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. Yeah, I think I would definitely go for a full size of Relique d'Amour. And the other ones, I think, even though I would probably not get, and it's pretty expensive either way, but I think they're all worthy scents, very beautiful, very unique, and interesting scents. So yeah, I really enjoyed. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Hopefully, like, subscribe, whatever those things that YouTubers say. I already have another, I don't know, repertoire of scents that I want to test out soon, but we'll see what my paycheck allows. Anyways, bye bye.